Well, again, I look to the scripture. I see, for example, I think we've maybe talked about this before a few times, but Daniel in the exile, he prays at the time of the offering
Right.
towards Jerusalem. So there's no temple, there's no priesthood, but yet Daniel's worship and his love of God and the rhythm of his day is still defined according to Jerusalem and the time of the mincha, of the offering, should it be there. And we know that the disciples, after Yeshua's resurrection, they go at the same time of prayer. They go to the temple and worship. So when the temple, so there's, in other words, there's no difference in intent of heart between Daniel and the post-resurrection disciples in Jerusalem. The difference is just that there's a physical temple there. And so they have access and they participate in things that Daniel could not.
Right.
But they still had the same orientation.
Right.
And here's another example. In the beginning of the Gospel of Luke, we learn about John the Baptist's father, Zechariah, who is of the sons of Aaron, and he goes in and offers burnt incense at the altar of incense at the appropriate time, according to his division of the priestly order. But we know that there's no Ark of the Covenant in there. There's no, there's no Ark of the Covenant. So he's not going into the Holy of Holies, but he is doing something that only one Cohen could go and do, which is do the go in by himself into the holy place where the menorah is, where the table of showbread is, and where the altar of incense is. That's where he goes. And so you can say, "Oh, there's no Ark of the Covenant here. Let's get out of here. This whole thing is we
stupid.
Can't do it. We can't do it.
Yeah,
it's
why are we doing
here.
this? This is stupid." Yeah.
So that's just what's in Scripture. And so if Scripture is here for our edification and instruction and guidance as we grow as believers, then it seems the signposts in Scripture are in agreement with our position.
Real quickly, because we need to get to annihilation theology. But real quickly, he says, and by the way, great comment, Mr. C. I mean, I'm very grateful for your both of your questions. They're good questions. He says here, he says, I have read and heard groups and people explaining that there is not any effectual purpose to the feast other than celebration and showing obedience. I don't know what you would mean, what we would have to define effectual purpose, but I think that there is an effect, and that effect is that the festivals do their number one main goal and priority in my mind. So people are going to tell you, oh, it was to, Yom Kippur, its main goal was to take away the sin of the nation of Israel. Well, that's one of its functions, but it's not its main function in my mind. The Passover people are going to say, oh, well, it was to bring people out of Egypt. Well, that might have been its function, but it was not its main function. All 5 of the major festivals / holidays, whatever you want to call them, feast days of the Torah, were for the number one purpose was to point people to Yeshua and the work on the cross. And that still holds true today. When your child asks you, what is the meaning of this thing that you do? You are to say, our God brought us out with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, right? I mean, this is in Exodus. So the point is that even if we have Christ now, and this is one of the downfalls of the mainstream Christian church, to say we don't need to celebrate these festivals anymore. You got children sitting in the pews, you got children sitting in your congregations and at your table who are going to ask questions. And guess what? If they are not regenerate yet, you want to give them the message of Christ. And you do that in the exact same way that the Torah tells you to, through the festivals and through the Torah, of course. It is the tutor that brings us to Christ. So that is the effectual, maybe I'm using that term wrong. I don't know how Mr. C was trying to use it. He says saving value. So, yeah, I think that they do have saving value in the sense, no work has saving value. But but my point here is that the effectual purpose of the feast is to bring a person to Christ, to show that we need a substitutionary sacrifice. Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.